This is Dr. Troy Fullerton from Bilingual Barrier Busters. So in a previous video, I discussed what an indirect object is. An indirect object tells to whom or for whom an action of a verb is performed without using the words to or for. In English, what that typically means is we put the indirect object before the direct object and we all understand what it's talking about. If I say, I gave my mother a new car, well, what actually got handed over? It was the car, right? That's the direct object, but to whom or for whom was that car given? To my mother. If I say, we read the children a story, well, what actually got read, the children or the story? The story did, but to whom or for whom was the story read? It was read to the children. Now, here is where it gets really interesting. Spanish does not have indirect objects. However, Spanish does have indirect object pronouns. Words like me and us and you in the objective form and him and her and them. Those are object pronouns, and in Spanish, the indirect object pronouns in the third person are le and les. Now, Spanish does something really interesting here. Look, I can say I told my friend the truth, or I can say I told the truth to my friend, and simply use a prepositional phrase. Well, in Spanish, I cannot say I told my friend the truth directly, but I can say I told him the truth. Yo le dije la verdad. But then I might have to clarify who he was. So I would say, le dije la verdad a mi amigo. That's I told my friend the truth. Well, it sounds for all the world like I'm saying I told him the truth to my friend. And that really is what I'm saying. But that's how Spanish works. Oftentimes, we'll use an indirect object pronoun, since we can't use an indirect object, and we'll plop it in right before the direct object, and then we'll clarify who we were talking about by going ahead and adding the word a and saying who we were talking about.